Hey guys, this is Rumbummer. Instead of doing a game, I'm going to do a console instead. The Sega Saturn. The Sega Saturn was Sega's console in the 32-bit generation, but it didn't do so hot here because it had a surprise launch, and it was too hard for developers to make games for it. One of the biggest problems with the Saturn that it always had these long rectangular boxes that would usually take too much space on a shelf or not fit in a shelf at all. And some of them could even break easily. But enough about that. Let's talk about the games. First, we'll look at Virtua Fighter 2. Virtua Fighter 2 is the sequel to Virtua Fighter, which is one of the first 3D fighting games out there. In this series, you can't just smash the buttons to win. You gotta learn the opponent's moves and know when to attack. This really pushes the hardware limits of the Sega Saturn, with its fully textured polygons at a 480i resolution running at 60 frames per second. I recommend this one because it's easy to find and it's cheap. Next up, we'll look at Virtua Cop, which has a nice slipcover, by the way. In Virtua Cop, you play as two undercover cops and try to shoot the bad guys. That's pretty much it. So it's a light gun game, but I don't have the light gun with me. But that's just fine because you can also use a controller. The game is really fun and it feels satisfying to shoot bad guys. But of course, how can I not include the best of them all? Nights into Dreams. Nights into Dreams is about these two kids, and then they have a dream where they touch this purple thing called Nights, and he has to collect these blue spheres, and then if you collect enough of them, you get this thing called an idea, because of course. Nights is a really fun game. I can easily see why it's the best game for the system. It has amazing graphics for the system and delightful music. I recommend picking up this one, and it's not a game that doesn't require the big bucks either. Why don't we look at a launch title this time? Here we have Panzer Dragoon. Panzer Dragoon is a pretty cool game. You're riding this dragon, and it's sort of a 3D rail shooter. As you shoot other dragons, I guess, and other sorts of creatures, then every once in a while you fight this cool boss. For being a launch title, this is a pretty good game. With its beautiful graphics, and it's a pretty cool soundtrack too. This is a must if you have a Saturn laying around. I know I've talked about the well-known titles, but why don't we look at something more obscure? Here is a stall. In this game, you play as a stall that's trying to get your sister back named Lita from an evil god or something. This game really pushes the hardware to its limits. Look how he pulls that tree from the ground as the screen zooms in, and every once in a while, you find yourself a bird. This bird can help you out, like kill enemies or maybe give you some health. This is a pretty cool game and I recommend checking it out. If you're thinking of buying a Saturn, I highly recommend getting one of these. It's an action replay cart. This magical device can do things such as manage your cheat codes, back up your save files, and the most important of them all, you can also play these import classics such as Tokimeki Memorial. Well, this is interesting. In Tokimeki Memorial, it's a dating sim where you do things in school such as homework, lifting weights, talking to friends, and much more. For being one of the first dating sims out there, it's pretty impressive, but it only came out in Japan, and the text is only in Japanese. So if you have a translator, or if you know Japanese, you should probably check this out, I guess. And that's pretty much it. In conclusion, the Sega Saturn is a pretty good system, and it's got some pretty good games on it. And some are a little bit more expensive than others, but that's about it. See ya.